Welcome to Agent Unstuck Calls, where we talk to real estate agents who are experiencing a challenge in their real estate career and they're looking for an alternative solution. Hi, I'm your host, Mike Cerrone with MastermindAgent.com, and I'm excited about this episode, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Well, thank you for joining me today. How can I help you? What challenge are you experiencing with your real estate practice?
Well, first of all, thank you for taking the time, Mike. Appreciate it. And honestly, I'm just having pretty much, Mike, I just want to achieve something in this next year that I've never done before in terms of just taking my business to a whole next level in regards to the volume. So the amount of transactions that I'm doing and the amount of houses that I'm selling. And that's just where I'm at right now with it.
Good. So let's get some background, get some information, and know what your goals are. So how long have you been in real estate?
So I've been licensed now for 5 years. But during that time, I've kind of been part-time or maybe less than part-time. So I started a youth soccer coaching business at the same time that I started my real estate career. And that kind of took more of my time, and I was spending most of my time doing that. But over the past 5 months now, I've been full-time in real estate. And over the past month, this has been my only job with no part-time or side hustles or anything like that.
Wow, cool. All right. So full-time for 1 month. You've had your license for 5 years. 5 months now, you've been more serious about it. And for 1 month now, you've been full-time, ready to go. So give us more perspective. Over the last 5 years, how many transactions have you closed? How many did you close in the last year? Do you have anything going right now? Give us some pictures of how things are going.
So pretty much over the past 5 years, I've kind of just done transactions pretty much when they fell in my lap, so to speak, like whether family or friends or just referrals from people that I kind of run into.
Sure.
So I've done maybe a dozen deals or so.
Good.
But since I've taken it more full-time and more serious, I've noticed exponential growth in the amount of business that I'm doing. So over the past 5 months, I've done 4 transactions. And over the past month, I sold 2 houses once I just been doing it full-time.
Excellent. And now you said you've got big goals that you want to achieve for the next year. What does that mean? You tell me, what is your goal over the next year?
Well, even just saying it out loud, I feel kind of, I don't know, not embarrassed, but maybe self-conscious. But I want to sell 100 houses next year, Mike.
That's a big jump.
It's a big jump for sure. Definitely a big jump.
There have been a few people who have pulled that off. There are some people in the world that have pulled that off. There are not very many, but there are a few. So that's pretty exciting. Tell me, why do you want to sell 100 homes next year?
Well, I just really want to do something big and really want to challenge myself and push myself kind of beyond my limit or even beyond what a lot of people may perceive as attainable or achievable. And I think it's a really like a stretch goal that's really going to challenge me to grow and to develop and to become kind of someone different in order to achieve those kind of results. So that's like what I'm looking forward to doing.
Have you laid out a plan for how you're going to achieve that?
To be honest, no, not like a step-by-step plan, but more so whatever it takes kind of attitude, or no matter how many hours or how many doors I have to knock or how many calls I have to make, just kind of give it everything I got and see what I can produce.
Okay. Remember that there's 2 parts to that, achieving that goal. Well, there's a couple different parts. One is setting the goal, and you've done that. The other is the drive to attain that goal, which you now have. You mentioned you have this ambition, but you also have to have this plan, right? You got to have a way to do it. Otherwise, it's not likely to happen because you won't know what to do on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's where you're at. The business that you've done so far, how did you generate that business?
So I've tried like a multitude of different approaches, and I did flyers, like I printed flyers and delivered them door to door. And I've also just did like door knocking, where I'm handing out my business cards and just giving them my proposal of offering to sell their house. And those have worked for me because the past 2 deals I've done, one was from door knocking and the other was from a flyer that I left.
Excellent. Where are you door knocking? Are you door knocking on apartments, door knocking on houses? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm mixing it up. I'm just focusing in one particular neighborhood in my city. And I started with condos, and I also did some houses. So I got the flyer referral from the condo, and the door knocking, I got a house.
That is great. I like it. Are you familiar with our success calls?
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with success calls. That's how I got familiar with you in the first place.
Good. I want you to go listen to Joy Russell.
Okay, let me write that down.
She had a lot of success early on by knocking on doors in apartment complexes. And so it's a really great story I want you to listen to. Again, Joy Russell. And then also another story that I just heard recently was a good one, Bryce Fuller. And he's actually in our Solo Agent World podcast. So check that one out. You can find all that at mastermindagent.com. But check out Joy Russell and Bryce Fuller. And we got a whole bunch of other people that do these kind of things, but those are the ones that popped to my mind right away that I want you to check out because they got real quick early starts their first year by knocking on doors. So I think that's going to be inspirational. Do you know your numbers for knocking on doors? Like how many you have to knock and what kind of results you're going to receive? You know, have you figured that out yet?
Yeah, so pretty much it's all kind of secondhand information. So just kind of things that I've been able to glean from watching a few of the people that you would have interviewed, as well as some other videos from successful agents. But in regards to my own conversion and my own numbers, I don't think I've really done enough volume to say how many flyers or how many doors I need to knock in order to get the clients. Okay.
And are you comfortable knocking on doors? Did that work for you? I mean, as far as your comfort level?
Oh, yeah, definitely. At first, I was obviously a bit nervous or a bit timid or fearful, but I realized, like if I want to be successful, this is what I got to do. So I just started doing it. And as I've been doing it, I've been getting good feedback. So I've been getting more comfortable and more confident. And now I'm loving it.
That's awesome. I got one more for you. I just came to mind. And there's a bunch of people. Ken Purdy. Is a guy up in Canada, and he knocks on doors. Really sharp fella, and we just interviewed him for Solo Agent World. You want to listen to his call as well. He's been doing doors for 20 years,
wow.
And he's been able to do a lot of closings, working quote part-time. So you want to check that one out also to get some ideas. One other reference I'm going to give you is Mike Ferry. I don't know if you're familiar. Have you checked out Mike Ferry's stuff yet?
Oh yeah, he's the OG. He
is.
I noticed a lot of the. Yeah.
He was the guy I looked at 30 years ago when I got into business, and he's phenomenal. And he has a lot of awesome scripts that you can use at the door to get the conversations going. And he gives those scripts away for free, which I've been a little upset about because I paid $500 for them way back in the day. So you can get that at his site. If you go to his site, I think it's under resources. You put in your name and email address and you just get it. I'm just like, wow. But check those scripts out. He also has a lot of good information on ratios. I read his book years and years ago called, it was the Blue Book, right when I was getting business in it. It was called How to Earn Six Figures in Real Estate. How to Earn Six Figures in Real Estate, Blue Book, Mike Ferry. And the reason that's cool is it gives the blueprint or the outline for all these ratios we're about to go into. So you might want to check that out, especially if you're good with prospecting and door knocking. It's the way I got my start. It's the way a lot of people get their start. And it's kind of fun. I like meeting people face to face at the door because I can see what's going on. And it was much easier for me to do that than get on the phone and call. So I'm all for the door knocking. So go ahead and check some of those resources out. Let me give you some numbers, some ideas to think about.
Okay.
In general, the old rule of thumb was you needed to have 100 knocks in order to find one closing. Okay.
And that's like people answering the door, right?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And that's why Ferry is so good at this. He breaks it down between the knock and the talk and the conversation, and then the ratios after that. And of course you have to do follow-up with all these leads. What'll happen in general is if you talk to 100 people, you're probably going to find about 5 good solid leads. And of those 5, one of them is going to close within a reasonable amount of time.
Okay.
Oh, I just lost your picture there. Oh, there you are. I just want to make sure I didn't lose you. And so that's some really good information to know. And do you know how many doors you can knock in an hour?
So I bring someone with me so that I'm able to do a bit more.
Good.
But I would say in an hour, maybe 60 to 70 houses.
That's awesome, especially those condos and apartments, right? You can go quick. And you're dropping off an item of value on the door if they don't answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as that's good in your area, you got to check out your area and make sure. Good. I like this. This is really neat because it's bringing back memories. It's the cheap, easy way to get in. As long as you have the ambition and the drive, you can make it happen. Boy, I'm trying to remember the names so I can help you with references. But there was a guy years and years ago. I believe he was out in California. Maybe his name will come back to me. This dude knocked on doors every day for like 6 to 8 hours, just crazy knocking. That's all he did. He'd go through like 7 cities a year, right? You're like, you're nuts. Why are you doing that? Because he got like 400 to 500 closings a year out of it. Okay. Wow. He had a machine going. They would meet him in his office at night after he did all his door knocking. He would have all these appointments lined up. And I'll give you this quick story. They would walk into his waiting room and there was a big giant board on the wall that would have his listing presentation. And they'd say, sit there and read that. And they would all be reading it. And then they pull him in one by one into his office. You say, well, did you read that? And they said, yeah. You want to hire me? Great. And they would sign the listing agreement right there and boom, they're off to the races. And then he would have some staff, some people to help get everything lined up. But that was his system. And he rocked it. I got to go back and look up his name. So there have been some people who have done some great things with door knocking. And I'm trying to let you know that so you can get some inspiration to keep rolling down that path. If you've got the drive and you're willing to go up to those doors, there is gold back there. There's a lot to work with. And it's really cool because it's that face-to-face. So it's a lot more connection with people.
Okay, that's amazing feedback. It lets me know I'm on the right track.
Yeah, you are. If you like working with first-time buyers and stuff, Joy has some really cool stuff that she did in her early days to get off to a great start. By the way, Joy Russell's phenomenal. The year we interviewed her, she closed 96 transactions as a solo agent. Okay. Wow. So that's why I'm saying these are the kind of people that can really inspire you and get your juices flowing and get excited and move forward. And I think Bryce closed maybe 20 to 30 his first year. He was rookie of the year. And it was basically on this idea of going and knocking on apartment doors and I think they were condos. And he would put up a flyer on the door. I think you taped it up. It was a real cheap piece. Listen to his interview. It's pretty cool. We just did that within the last month.
Okay.
What questions I've been talking a lot. What questions do you have about jumping into doors? Have you run into any challenges, issues, concepts? Where are you at?
No, I haven't really had any issues, really. I think it's just a matter of repetition and getting the practice to get your script down pat and to handle the objections and to know what to say when people have their answers. So I think I just got to be consistent to continue and keep building my skills and building that, that muscle to know how to handle the rejections and the objections and get the leads and ultimately close more business.
I love it. Look into those Mike Ferry scripts. Those are really good. For the initial script, he has 5 questions so that you ask and then you listen. You always want to listen to what they say. That's where you're going to find all the gold. And so I just had it on a clipboard because that was what Mike told me to do, just right there. So it looked like I was taking a survey and I would ask him the questions. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. I think the first question is, when are you planning on moving? Right? Get it right out there. And they often have a knee-jerk reaction, no, or it's hard for them to say no to that question. He has them designed really well to move in to the next set of questions. How long have you lived here? Right? And then you come back to, if you were going to move, when would that be? Where would you go? So he has this really great format, and you can get through these things really quick, 30, 60 seconds, so that you can move on to the next one if there's nothing there. And also be sure to ask them when you're talking to someone, hey, do you know any people in the neighborhood that are thinking about moving? Because oftentimes you'll find somebody that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's insightful because the same script that you're saying, that's what I've been saying. So I guess I'm getting secondhand from someone who already learned from Mike Perry.
Oh, he's the master,
but that last tidbit you added, though, in terms of asking them for referrals if they know anyone else in the neighborhood, I'm definitely gonna add that into the repertoire also. I like that.
Perfect. Yeah, drop that in there. I like the idea that you have a knocking partner. Is this another agent or a friend of yours, or what's happening there?
Yeah, so like I was telling you, I used to coach soccer. So one of the young boys, he's now getting a bit older, and he sees I'm starting to have a bit of success in real estate, and this is what he now wants to do after high school. So I kind of brought him along, and I'm kind of teaching him and mentoring him, and he's getting started, I guess, before he's ready to get licensed and just learning the ropes in the business.
That is so cool. That is really cool. Well, I like to give people an assignment at the end of our call. So I'm going to give you an assignment. Do you have something to write with or take some quick notes?
Yep. Got my pen here. Cool. Yeah.
So here's your assignment. You have this very ambitious plan. However, because you're doing door knocking, it can be very simplified into numbers. Do you like numbers, number crunching, analytics?
Yeah.
So just keep it nice and simple. Get these stats and break it down. I want you to write out a plan for next year. In fact, starting right now, don't wait till January. Start right now, like the next 12 months. Okay, that's the other thing, is get right into it and create your plan for what you're going to do over the next 12 months to knock out those 100 transactions. 100 transactions is 8 closings a month. That's 2 closings a week, right? That means you've got to find and get two deals closed a week. So you got to get the 2 listings, which you actually need a little more because fallout, but right now there's not a lot. So 2 closings a week, that'll translate. You got to have 2 under contracts a week. You got to have 2 closings a week. That's going to make you hit your goal of 100 closings by the end of the year. It makes sense because that's on 48 and we got 52 weeks. So you're going to be able to make it. And then by doing that, you'll know exactly what I got to do each week. I would break this all down to week and then break it down to day. That means I got to make X knocks per day. And on your little sheet, I don't know if you're doing this, you hash mark. You got to track all your numbers. You have to track to make it a trackable business so that you can duplicate it, right? You need to know what your close ratios are right now. If I knock on 100 doors, how many leads do I find? Forget about whatever Mike said or anybody else. How many do I find? Right? If I knock on 100 doors, how many leads do I get? How many listings do I get? Therefore, how many contracts? How many closings? If you track this long enough, say over 6 months, you're going to have some sweet stats, right? You're going to have your stats. You're going to be able to say, well, if I do this, I get these results. And therefore, you can then reverse engineer it. Go, I want my 100 closings. I need to do this many door knocks over the course of a year, this many over the course of a month, this many over the course of a week, this many every day.
Right. Yeah. And
you also want to track, by the way, how long it's taking you on average, right? You want to have that stat in the tracks. So, I knocked today for 3 hours or 3 hours and 15 minutes. You get real specific. And I was able to knock on 172 doors. And I found 17 people that said they were interested. And I got their information. And whatever, you just go right on down the list, okay? And one of them wants to set up an appointment with me to list their property or to give them a market analysis. You're just tracking all these stats step by step.
Okay.
Include that item of the time, though, so that you know how many hours every day you have to go out and knock. So you may prefer to know the time, you may prefer to know the number of doors, etc.
Okay, I got you.
And by the way, this stuff works high-end luxury too. McDaniels, way back, I did an interview with the McDaniels group, and they were doing all this stuff with luxury real estate properties when I first started doing these interviews 10 years ago. And they were doing door knocking in a high-end area. At the time, I think it was like $1 million to $2 million. Today, it'd probably be 5 to 10 million neighborhood. And it all worked there too. Okay, so this stuff works if you're willing to work with it.
Awesome.
But again, back to your assignment. Your assignment is to write out the annual plan.
Okay.
And when you get that plan done, then you're going to let me know that you got it done. My question for you is this. When can you get that plan written out by? You need to give me a due date.
Before Monday. I'm going to work on this tonight.
Perfect. I love it. I love that ambition. I can tell you really are serious. Good. So you're talking Monday. Monday, what time?
Monday by 9 a.m. I'll be done. I'll probably be done before today, but let's do Monday. It's ready Friday.
Sweet. Monday, 9 a.m. and you're Eastern time?
Yep.
Perfect. I want you to do that, and then I want you to send me an email. I want you to send me an email at or before that time to tell me that you got it done. Okay? I'm your accountability on that. You're saying, Mike, I got it done. I got my plan done. And then you have an option. You can either send me the plan or not. That's your choice. But I want you to at least tell me you got it done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
And now you got a due date, you got accountability, you got the assignment. Repeat the assignment back to me to make sure that I understand that you and I are on the same plane.
I got to put together a game plan for how in the next year I'm going to be able to achieve my goal of selling 100 houses. I got to break it down month by month, week by week, day by day, the action things that I need to do, the numbers I need to hit in order to make that happen.
That is awesome. Because remember, what you can control is your action. You can control if I walk up and knock on that door, and if I do it 10 times in 10 minutes, right? You can control that. You can't control who answers the door. You can't control whether they're a good lead or a bad lead. You can't control whether they smile or frown. You don't have any control over that, but you can control how many times you knock on the door, right? And that's why you do the plan and the big picture and the drive. It'll push you through anything weird happening at the door.
Right.
I'll tell you that I knocked on a lot of doors early in my career. I used to do with the checks and everything. I never had anybody yell at me. I never had anybody sick a dog on me or any of these weird stories you hear. It never happened to me. The weirdest thing that I ever had happen was it was the summer and I walked up to a screen door, one of those glass screen doors that was closed, but the interior door was open, and I knocked and I looked down on my board. I was taking some notes. I looked up and there was a man standing there and he was naked.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know what to do. I just said, bye.
I don't blame you.
I know what else to do. That was the weirdest thing. So, that's what I'm telling you. It's not bad. I haven't had any bad situations happen. Other people say you have, but that's why Ken Purdy is going to be good to listen to, because he talked about it. He said it was his personal attitude, that once he got his personal attitude in line, nothing bad ever happened again. But before he did, he was running into these weird things. So check out his call. I think you're going to really like it.
Okay, will do.
I've had a lot of fun here. I hope this has been helpful. Did this help you out today?
Oh, big time, Mike. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to put into place the things that you showed me. But before you go, I just wanted to confirm something, because tomorrow I'm going to go door knocking, and I'm going to track my numbers for the first time. So you said to track the knocks, the talks, the closing, and the leads.
Yeah. So let's break that down real quick. That's a good question. So on your sheet, when you're walking around, you want to track the knocks. I used to do it with the hash marks, right? You do hash marks and the Roman numerals, and then it's easy to add up at the end.
Okay.
That's how many knocks. And then when you're doing the doors, the thing you're going to have on this sheet is answers. How many people answered the door? You want to track that. You're trying to break it down to the little nitty gritty. And next would be leads. How many people did I talk to that said, yeah, I have some kind of interest in moving, either whatever your timeline is, 6 months, a year. By the way, the tighter you make the timeline, the more business you'll do quicker. But a lot of people like to open up that timeline to find more people. It's up to you. But whatever your timeline is, let's say 6 months or less, or 3 months or less, when you find those people, that becomes another little hash mark. And by the way, of course, you write down their address, you write down their name, you say, hey, what's your contact information? You need to have something that you're going to provide to them. Hey, you want me to get you a market analysis? Want me to get you on a list where you can receive information about what's happening in the neighborhood? I've got a monthly newsletter. Whatever you're going to offer to them of value, have that ready to go. So there's an exchange, right? You're asking for their contact information. You're going to give them something right back.
Okay.
All
Got
right.
it.
Cool.
Got it.
Well, I'm excited for you. This is going to be awesome. And I cannot wait to hear your status. I can't wait to see by Monday at 9:00 that you have gotten this plan done.
100%, Mike.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
No, Mike, really, I want to say thank you, not only just for taking the time to talk to me, but all of the interviews that you've done in the past. And I know you've inspired many agents out there, not just myself. So appreciate the work you're doing. And again, I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me and speak with me. And I won't forget it, man. So thanks again, Mike Cerrone. Really appreciate you.
Well, that's it for Agent Unstuck calls. It was a lot of fun today. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and click that like button. And if you want to hear more calls like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when the next episode is coming out. And if you have any thoughts about what you heard today and you'd like to relay that to everyone else, go ahead and put that down in the comment section so people can talk about it. And finally, if you're stuck in your real estate career, you're a veteran who's having some challenges and you can't figure out how to get to that next step, go ahead and schedule yourself an Unstuck call. Just go to agentunstuckcall.com. That's agentunstuckcall.com. And let's get you scheduled in. You'll go in there, you'll fill out a quick survey, you'll find a time that works for you, and we'll get on a call just like this and see if we can't get you some answers. All right, this has been a lot of fun. I'm your host, Mike Cerrone with Mastermind Agent. And again, thank you for joining us on Agent Unstuck Calls. Take care.